it's like 5 miles.
Yeah.
Yep, and the airport's closed.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna change it to LaGuardia, but then I was like, yeah. I was so pretty jumped by Newark, and I was looking at it, but.
Yeah, just don't get of course anything is used that don't get mobbed. Oh, people like you? Of course.
I mean,
Oh, gosh.
I mean, I'm from Houston, New Jersey, which is like 10 minutes.
Actually, the crime rate went down when you left Jersey.
Yeah, exactly.
We have reservations at Edgewater.
Oh, yeah, that's nice, right on the water. Which way? I know.
And one of the ones that
Well, it's
ladies
nice,
and I
because there's two
take a
places,
video of
there's
me and
another
I'm like,
spot,
Chris,
that's right on the, so really looks at the city.
what's he gonna do in that video?
That's where it's looking for you now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hoping for better weather.
Watch you go back and look.
I remember you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Last
look at
night,
the puppy.
the concert was bad. Go back to the dog.
I know. Poor thing's just sitting by itself in the house.
Yeah, because I can see that.
Oh, that's the K-9 from
Oh, okay.
the fire marshal.
Oh,
I said, why do they have a police K-9?
Oh, clean, taken care of.
Yeah, he looks very well
That's
kept,
not-
right? His collar's very
Yeah,
nice.
exactly.
He doesn't have any like any kind of char on him at all.
Yes.
Any kind of cash.
Yeah.
So he looked out of place compared to the rest of the
Yeah.
world.
Is that for Sony only cameras?
Yeah.
No, I think that'll be a
Oh, yeah.
that'll be good. Good little trip to Jersey. I'll go back.
I had problems with that.
He's going to Detroit
And he's going to Detroit for a
Oh,
wedding
because the Wi-Fi.
at 2 o'clock.
at 2 o'clock.
He's got a flight at 2 TPA.
Hopefully he's packed.
I told Bertie, I hope he packed. He was like, God, packed.
I don't
He's
do
like,
it.
what is this one packed?
I was gonna get in the car,
I just,
but he just got me a
Where's Ashley
monitor
going?
so I can sit down.
Ashley's going.
From
She's going.
back
Where is she?
there.
She's probably Detroit.
Now he's a
So
studio
I
camera.
don't think she's going.
Well,
I don't think she's
normally
going.
I sit on
She was
this
in New
side.
Orleans. I don't know where she's going.
Bunch of jet setters.
Yeah, I remember she said something. Intro.
The color's not great.
You. No. Intro is you, and right off the top. We still going for some years and I'll put it down. I'm gonna sing. So going into town, we can use
Shoot me pictures so you can just freeze on.
Okay.
We are waiting on somebody from.
Yeah, that doesn't work. That's the other,
They're 5 minutes.
But I don't understand, like, you know,
Yeah, I haven't noticed any other vehicles pull up, that's why I keep trying to pop my head out. So I texted when they all got here, so, and they're all ready.
What changed in that 2 hour window?
I don't know.
I just, it's such a lot. I swear to God, I just feel like
It's wrong clock.
it's like, who the heck just got no good? It's like,
I don't know where it's at.
and 2 reporters.
It's Providence, is it Rhode Island?
Everyone's like,
Yeah, we have a lot of people today too. 2 investigative reporters.
A video of that beaver without the tail walking
Oh,
across the
dude.
road.
Oh, God.
And they're like,
For dayside.
So we,
like, come on.
That's funny.
And then 2 investigators.
I was dying laughing, I was like, I'm sorry, we get some good videos on that. I think the whole baby AI stuff is getting pretty.
It is.
It's funny and
It's funny, so there's some good videos, like,
Yeah.
We're 4
there's
live,
these
4 and 5 and
people, when I listen to the big old
Okay,
videos,
so
they
the
just
live
pick out
here.
like hardcore redneck.
Yeah.
Perfectly
Because it's kind
misspoken,
of pushed
Polk County type vernacular, you know, and it's like, they're talking, so it
Yeah, we
was,
went there last
they had
week,
a
and
baby,
we
like
were
AI
working
generation,
out
and
now.
like, it looked like they were
We're
wearing
not
that dirt, and
going
like,
outside.
breeze on their face, like they're working out, and they're talking to
They
each
were
other,
like
and like,
hostile.
Oh,
There's someone in there,
they were
there's this,
like not friendly and all.
Yeah.
Like they
it was
were
from
friendly.
Friday, the scene from Friday,
It's like a lot of
Ice Cube,
defenders
and
in the
the
area.
reports.
Oh, was it?
Oh my God, it's hilarious.
They're gonna talk about it, Emily Grace.
I feel like that's what we're gonna do, don't we see, do whole new,
I don't know if
just
it's-
remake movies, big and scale, I feel
And
like
the
this.
guy who was charged for a murder in '86, right? You said he served 17 years in prison?
A murder and sex offender combo thing.
Maybe. I mean, that's where the plot thickens. We weren't here for
The
fooling around,
trifecta.
didn't find out though. That
I was.
Oh, you were here for fooling around. That was a blur too, 'cause they had us doing, I don't even know what they had us doing. It's always like, they don't ever want the daytime reporters to be live or be earlier shows like they do,
Mhm.
so they always have to warn people.
You're 30.
Yeah, 2 o'clock. Where are you going? We have a show early, but now, starting in 2 weeks,
Mhm.
we have shows from 5
I got a
to 9
wedding in Greece.
and then
Flying out Sunday.
So now it was
Oh.
5 or 7, and then a streaming show from 30. But
Mm.
now we're doing our streaming shows from 7 through 9
Oh,
to
man.
straight.
Mhm.
I'm going to be
We're
there
having
in
the
July.
9 and then having the 11.
Where are you going?
Which we're all.
No, I'm going,
Yeah.
I'm
So
going
now
to
we just
Italy, Greece.
Ours is 4:30 to 9
And back
and then
home.
11 to 11.
We're doing an island.
Is that what it usually is?
Which one? Minas? Oh, Minas,
Because you
yeah.
guys are usually, but you guys usually do what last year, right? Or not?
The morning show? Most of the time.
Morning show.
Well, our
If
11 is different
if
now.
I was
Like,
during my time, I was going to come and crash your
like a
wedding.
streaming show, like from our streams.
My son, we had to get him, my other son, a room.
Or they'll be
so-
live on their phones and
Have
talk
no
about the
roommate.
story for 5 minutes.
Okay,
That's
there.
fun.
So it's a little different.
That's a different,
But,
that's a different deal.
Mhm.
Is that on, that's
So
on the street?
expensive, because my
It's
daughter's
on,
going and picking a roommate.
and on state television.
AJ's.
Oh, God.
I was
How did that work?
last year.
It's been
on,
since March.
Oh, so it's
Yeah.
relatively new?
Mhm.
On the island, all the way from this all
It's
the way
different.
north. Corfu Island.
I mean, that's
We
definitely
went there for
different.
vacation for a week.
They're good. They hired a boat. They're gonna do, there's 5 people on a boat. They're gonna do islands on one of the days.
That,
She said-
I would think that.
I know Ally was working.
Yeah,
I
very
know Ally
good
was,
problem.
I know
She
Ally
took
was
a,
working.
she took
Is
a
that-
picture
because I
of
told Ally,
back at
I
the
told
road,
Ally before
from a distance, it looks like it's
Yeah,
full
that
because
too.
the water is so clear you can see.
Because
it.
I didn't see
So
Ally
that
here.
was supposed to be at Memorial Day
Yeah,
weekend travel.
I was debating
Well,
whether
she-
to take my still camera.
Oh, you should.
Because I didn't see
You
Ally at
should.
the airport.
I
didn't
think
see
I have
Ally
enough
here.
room in my
Back
luggage.
to their
If you
car.
can.
Folks
Yeah,
like that she's
take-
listed here with though did call it 6, so I
But-
don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna be in-
Saturday studio.
Yeah.
Athens 2 days.
Because
On the
I didn't know
island
about
5.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Come back to London.
She did state park bill sign,
I
Clearwater
wanted to go to
evacuation
Spain,
warning.
but Spain, they don't like
The,
tourists right now,
the state
so
court bill that was signed.
Are you telling me?
Yeah, so.
I'll go somewhere else.
Yeah, I just pitched, like, because they asked us to pitch,
Mhm.
which is weird. How do you pitch it?
Yeah.
8 o'clock in the morning.
Give her a dog. What
The
we
reason
say
is
is that station.
Yeah.
So most people just repurpose things.
Tell them to.
Give her a dog. Come on, I gotta go, I gotta fly. Forget them. It's 10 minutes.
It's not my fault.
Where's Judd? I can go, I can talk to him.
What happened, Bird?
Come on.
What happened?
Well, we're waiting for Telemundo. And this is not even in
I
Spanish.
think it's Univision.
Yeah.
But yes.
One of them.
Scott's outside, so I don't know if he's trying to work on it now and see what the plan is, so. Listen, I'm here stranded just like you guys. At least I don't have to do a 2-hour drive back.
You have a flight to catch?
Oh, man, this is not fun.
Where's your other crew?
Well, that's the problem. They're coming. Not fast enough. Nick, you still have to do the 10:30 or not?
Oh, yeah. Here comes our EP calling me. She's probably like, I can hear you through the mic on the shit.
Probably.
What's up? I didn't talk.
Testing, 1, 2. Test, test, test.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what I said. It wasn't me. It was probably Bertie or. You know I can't stop talking. I'm trying to, I'm trying to bring the mood here. I'll lift some spirits more. All right, I'll work on it. All right, I will. All right, bye. They said they could hear you complain.
How's the first part of the audio?
Stories about trouble
Pretty good.
so either mute the audio or do
That's
something.
how you technically set it.
That's the truth,
All right.
okay? I'm not going to mute anything.
All right. I got it on both channels. I got it on both channels.
Ah, this is why I love this. You told me you didn't think you'd be entertained, then.
And Brian recently pressed on the register.
Because they're streaming this whole thing live on the 10 Base Plus app right now, so people are just hearing us talk.
Why that streaming hasn't started?
Yeah, but I think they just put it up because, like, I don't know what goes on. I have to listen, man. You telling me? I don't know.
Okay, but here it is. It's down. And I'm going to keep it down through the whole press conference. Oh, I'm sorry. Because I told them, and they said,
You
okay.
leave now. You got your luggage with you?
Oh, yeah, I just go home, I gotta change my pants, and that's it.
Bernie, what does your leisure phone?
I have no idea.
Well, Kendra's asking in case we
I
want to
have
say.
no idea.
But-
I turned that phone on, and there was sign, the desk is sign.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bernie, I'm gonna say Bernie is clueless.
No, because, well, but you can say whatever. Well, you know what, let's see if it's going to work.
All right, let's pull it up. Is your Live Plus? So. I'm gonna say Bernie said he'll figure it out.
No, desk need to figure it out, because
Bernie
they,
said he will pull it up.
you keep saying that.
And the desk,
Have to assign the customer
Sorry.
to see the.
Running late.
Okay, this will screw me up. Good for them.
What I need is a courthouse.
which courthouse?
Can't
Oh.
I need to be able to put it on a stick.
Oh, the mine?
No, the cameras.
Oh,
The mic would be bad.
Well, I got plenty of mics. Mics are not the problem.
Multi-camera.
yeah,
One on the
it's not,
judge's
it's not
side.
working.
It's not working? Great.
Hold on,
Any other
let
business
me
you got?
call, what's his name?
Nick Nadiri?
No.
If you were a betting person, what are the chances and odds you think you get that one?
I hope not.
But I'd roll the dice on it.
Can you call that, because my
I
desk-
can't, I don't have the phone.
Oh,
I had to give Nick Nadiri my phone and computer because I'm locked out of there. Oh, that was another thing I had to deal with this morning. I was locked out of my VPN. So I can't access anything. So what's going on? Totally.
Hey, Sean, can you check my zero on my phone ever since it got us on 200? Do I start it or you start it? Hold on, I think I'm going to. I just restarted.
Put it-
Class. Yeah.
Put it right up front.
Put them up line with the podium,
He's got a
like that.
For some reason, every time I see it,
1975.
He doesn't need to see it. He doesn't need to see it?
He has a paper with all of it.
Okay.
Just, this is it. This is,
And he's
this is,
found.
this is the, what I like to call the gist.
He's walking down now.
You ready?
Yep.
Thank you.
So this is not good.
Okay.
Oh, it's in use. So yeah. Can you switch me to different? Okay, Keith.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being with me on this Friday. I wish you all a very happy Memorial Day. But I want to start with a history lesson. As you know, I've been in law enforcement my entire adult life, and there was a time in the state of Florida where the felons owned Florida, where they weren't held fully accountable. And I want to talk about this fellow for just a few minutes. Historically, Eddie Thomas, he's 69 years of age. And I want to tell you a sordid history, because when you look at this guy, if you want to see pure evil in the flesh, it's this man. So let's go back to October 28th, 1975. October 28th, 1975, he was arrested by the sheriff's office for burglary and grand theft, and he spent 14 days in jail, and they gave him 5 years of probation. Then in November 1975, keep in mind, he's on probation, he's supposed to behave. He was arrested by the Winter Haven Police Department for false report of a crime, and he spent 25 days in jail. Did they violate his probation? No. May 22nd, 1986, he was arrested by the Bartow Police Department for burglary and second-degree murder. And here's what happened. He's a cocaine addict. You know, those people want to tell you it's a low-level, nonviolent drug, okay? It's anything but that. But he was a cocaine addict, so his wife and 4 children, 2 of which were his, moved out and moved home with their mother. And on this particular day, he went to the house, found out that his estranged wife was there, went to the trunk, got a .410 gauge shotgun, went inside and shot and murdered her twice with 2 shots directly in front of the children. Did you hear what I said? He went into the house after getting a .410 shotgun out, shot his wife twice, killing her in front of the children. And then he told the police, well, after he was arrested, I told her I was going to kill her. Now think about this for a second. The horribleness of this premeditated murder. So, but let's go to the arrest. All right, so he shoots and kills his wife. There's a broadcast put out. One of our sergeants notices the vehicle in Winter Haven. He gets the tag number checks out. He spins the car around in order to go stop the guy, and he looks, and the car is in flames. And Eddie is coming out of the car fully engulfed in fire. He's burned over 60% of his body. So I suspect at that moment in time that he was going to commit suicide by setting himself on fire because he put accelerant inside the vehicle. But as he got hotter and hotter and started to burn, I guess he changed his mind. So he was taken to Shands and given the very best treatment, and he survived. He was convicted of second-degree murder. Did you hear what I said? Not first-degree murder, second-degree murder, because the felons owned Florida. It was a very forgiving, liberal system to the very worst offenders. So he now is convicted of second-degree murder, burglary, grand theft of a motor vehicle, grand theft of a firearm, and only sentenced to 17 years in prison plus 5 years probation. So at that time, you could murder your wife, be convicted of a second-degree murder, get only 17 years, and that's before your good behavior and that sort of thing. Make a long story short, he's released from that on probation, and he's got 5 more years of probation. Then he's arrested in August of 1997 for violation of probation, February 1998 for violation of probation, and in December 1998, he is booked in the state prison for violation of probation and released after 4 years. Now let's fast forward. He's not learned from his criminal evil conduct yet. August 2007, he's arrested for sexual battery with a deadly weapon, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. March 2008, he pled no contest to lewd and lascivious contact with a victim between 12 and 16 years of age. So this sexual battery was to a child, and he pled. He was given 15 years in prison with credit for 1,954 days which he'd been in the county jail. He was registered as a sex offender. Now let's fast forward. It's September 13 when he actually goes into the system. So in 2020, he's released. He spends, 13 years of the 15 years? You spend about 85% of your sentence, but he's released. And what happens once he's released in 2020? In 2021, he's violated his probation again because he's not conforming with his sexual offender status. We arrest him again. So in September 2021, he goes back to prison for 2 more years. In 2023, he's on probation, and his probation ends on January 2024. So let me bring you up to May 15th, 2025. He is in a group home in the Dawn Heights area of Eaton Park, Florida. The reason he's in a group home is because he's a sexual offender, and it's very limited where you can leave. There's a wonderful lady that's retired from Department of Corrections who has these group homes for sexual offenders because there's limited areas where they can live. Her name is Mrs. Crump. I want to give a shout out to Mrs. Crump. She does a very good job. Now, make no mistake about it. It's not Mrs. Crump that was Andy Griffith's girlfriend, okay? It's a different Mrs. Crump. But she does a remarkable job because she provides homes for these sexual offenders and sexual predators. She cooperates with us. We know where to find them. Because she's an ex-probation officer, she keeps them in line. So she updates this particular home just shortly before Eddie burns it to the ground. And here's what happened. It's about 3:15 in the morning. And he goes to his roommate and says, "Hey, I'd like a ride into town." And his roommate said, "Hey, dude, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Go back to bed." So he rolls over and goes to sleep. during this period of time, and I'll call him victim number 5, gets up to go to the bathroom. And he sees Eddie wandering around in the house. He says that's not unusual. Since he got off of probation, he's been a total wreck here. And he wanders around at night. We know he's using drugs again, cocaine. But he sees him just wandering around. So he says, I go to the bathroom, go back to bed. And he says, I'm not even back asleep yet till I hear this sound. And this sound sounds like somebody is splashing something. And then I hear a whoosh. Well, we know now he was splashing accelerant in front of every bedroom down the hallway and tried to create a fire barrier so they could not run out of the house. He set the house on fire. He set the house on fire with 5 folks in there beside himself. Victim 1 ran through the flames and ended up being severely burned on his hands and feet. He had to be airlifted to a burn center. Victim 2 crawled out the window. Victim 3 ran through the flames. Victim 4 is on a walker. He slipped and fell. He said the floor was greasy. Something was on the floor. He slipped and fell. And the other victims ran back inside to save his life. Victim 5 once again said he saw Eddie in the house with a container just before he heard the whoosh. Then the suspect drove off. And that was one of the things that confounded his partner. He said, why was he asking me for a ride at 3 o'clock in the morning? He had a car. But anyway, he drove off. So the investigation begins. The fire marshal comes and says there's definitely an accelerant. It's an arson. He's burned the house to the ground. He's burned up other people's vehicles. He's created, once again, evil havoc. He goes to the hospital with chest pain. He stays for 2 days. They release him. Hey, you're good to go. He knows we're looking for him. Then he checks himself in to the mental health area of the hospital at Lakeland Regional Health. And he tells them that, you know, I need some help. I've got mental health issues. The dude is just mean as a snake is what's wrong. So anyway, we locate him. We read him his constitutional rights. And he looks at us kind of glibly and said, I'll take that right there. And they said, which right? The one for an attorney. He did not confess. But I point out once again that this man blocked the hallway with fire to try to keep them from getting out. By the grace of God, they all survived. Mrs. Crump then worked with us, and we had to rehome these folks because they can't just live anyplace, and we certainly weren't going to let them wander around because of their status, but they're still human beings, and we wanted to make sure that we gave them a place to stay while we searched for Eddie. This man's dangerous. He's 69 years of age. Our goal is that he never takes a breath of air outside of prison, but I want to underscore he tried to murder 5 people that night. After he sexually battered a child between 12 and 16, after he murdered his wife in front of the children, how much meaner and dangerous and evil can you be? So at the end of this investigation, we know who did this. We know that he tried to murder others. And I want you to see that he is successfully locked up in the county jail. Certainly Brian Haas, who is a great prosecutor, I'm sure will ensure that he spends the rest of his life in prison. Are there any questions?
Sheriff, what do you think when you see these
I see pictures that should never have been. He was given sufficient time when he did that murder. Had they given him consecutive time, had they not allowed for a plea to second-degree murder, which I'm sure is what happened, or even if the jury had convicted him, he wouldn't be out to do this. If they'd given him the full ride for his sexual battery charge, he certainly wouldn't be out. But this hypersensitive, forgiving criminal justice system in the 80s started this downhill. You see, by not dealing with it in the mid-80s, we had 5 people who, except for the grace of God, would have been murdered today. And Mrs. Crump, who we're grateful for, I underscore, she does great work for us and with us. Her place is destroyed. The place she created to help people, to do good, is destroyed. He has destroyed everybody's life that he's come in contact with.
Can you say what the accelerant was?
We don't know what it is. It's at the lab right now. The witnesses told us it smelled like gas. And, of course, other witnesses said it was slippery on the floor. Now, is gas slippery on the floor, or was it diesel? I just don't know yet. But it was an accelerant.
And just to clarify, I guess there were 6 people in that home. Were they all men and they were all registered sex offenders?
That's correct.
And you said that they were rehomed while he was on the run. Are they permanently rehomed?
They have to be, because they can't live here. I hope she had insurance and can rebuild, because these facilities are important. We can go to one place, because we check on these sex offenders and sex predators. We keep up with them by law. So it's our opportunity to know exactly where they are. They're all in one place. It makes our job easier. Mrs. Crump also follows up with them to try to keep them out of trouble as well, because if we know where they are and they're not out running wild, then we hope that they don't commit an offense again. But he destroyed infrastructure that was created to help keep them on the path of behaving. So, I mean, there aren't adequate words to share my frustration, other than if those 5 people were dead this morning, I'd be standing up here saying they shouldn't have been dead. Well, they shouldn't have been the victim of an attempted first-degree murder. And Mrs. Crump's home shouldn't have been burnt to the ground. So there you go. Bad deal.
Did he have issues with the release previously, or did he not?
They said he behaved as long as he was on probation. But when he got off of probation, that he began to have people over against the rules. He began to use cocaine. He was disruptive. And in fact, Mrs. Crump was in the process of evicting him. And because the others complained and said, look, this guy's going to get us in trouble. We got to, he's not good. So Mrs. Crump was in the process of evicting him. There's eviction procedures in order to protect those that rent. And that was in progress when this occurred.
Could that have been another motive?
Well, absolutely. We believe it's another motive. He was severely burned, and he severely burned others. He committed murder. He committed sexual battery. It's rare that I present to you someone that doesn't deserve the air they breathe. Here's a poster child for someone who doesn't deserve the air they breathe. He's murdered. He sexually battered children between 12 and 16. He tried to murder 5 people on this particular night. It's like, how many clues do we need? Okay? Thank you very much.